Dr. Babita Bharadwaj is working as an assistant professor at Army Institute of Education, affiliated to Guru Gobind Singh Indraprastha University, New Delhi, since 2014. She started her career as TGT Science and has been working as an assistant professor for more than 19 years. After obtaining her BSc degree from Delhi University, she completed her postgraduate diploma in ecology and environment and MA in English, MAd and MPhil in education. She has qualified UGC NET in education and completed her PhD in education from Jamia Millia Islamia University. She has also done MOOCs course in educational technology with A grade. She successfully accomplished her responsibility as NAAC coordinator by serving as assistant professor at RDKM Noida in 2010. She is IQAC in charge and NAAC coordinator in Army Institute of Education. She was invited as a resource person in various workshops held at SCRT. She attended 4 weeks orientation program at Delhi University in 2016. She has also attended various national and international seminars. She has edited 3rd volume of peer-reviewed research journal, EduSpectra, AIE Interdisciplinary Journal of Research and Education, a book, Innovative Teaching Trends, Opportunities and Challenges, and 2 volumes of Army Institute Education's annual magazine, Vivaksha. She has authored a book, Information and Communication Technology Competency, Academic Achievement and Professional Interest in Teacher Education. She has been the editor of AIE newsletter, Sankalan. She has presented number of papers in national seminars and published research articles in various reputed national and international journals. She has also developed study material for B.Ed program of Jamia Millia Islamia University. She has also delivered lecture on GGSIPO official YouTube channel and NIOS virtual platform. She has delivered a lecture on NIOS Radio Mukta Vidyavani. Her research areas are teacher education and information and communication technology, ICT competency. Hereby, I welcome you, madam, for your guidance and on criteria 4. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm honored to be the part of this national level online FDP on NAAC accreditation for teacher education institutes. This is the initiative taken by Azad College of Education in coordination with the Council for Teacher Education Foundation, Delhi NCR chapter. So it is really a great initiative. It is need of the hour that we need to work on it. And warm good morning to Honorable Dr. V.S. Nalavade, Principal, Azad College of Education, Satara.
Good morning, madam.
Good morning, ma'am. Honorable Professor Vinay D. Dongde, Coordinator FDP. Dr. Amit Kumar Gagre, Coordinator IQAC. Professor Satendra Gupta, Chairperson CTEF, Delhi NCR chapter. Dr. Sanjay Kumar, Secretary General, CTEF, Delhi NCR chapter, and other respected dignitaries and all fellow participants who have joined this FDP from different states of India. I really appreciate Azad College of Education, Satara, for organizing this huge event. And I am sure that this initiative will make teachers aware about the NAAC accreditation as per revised format, especially for teacher education programs. So I have been allotted criteria 4. So I will try my best to discuss all the points as per NAAC guidelines, because the content which we'll be discussing, we have taken, we are dependent on NAAC, all the guidelines which are being shared by NAAC. So we'll be preparing our SAR or AQARs accordingly. So if I talk about this particular criteria, So, especially for those institutions who are which are standalone institutions. So by 2030, only educationally sound and multidisciplinary and integrated teacher education program will be in force. So keeping this point, I think as a teacher education institute, especially those institutions which are standalone, need to do more and more preparation. And NEP 2020 also focuses on technology use and its integration. And I think during pandemic, we all have experienced, we have witnessed the desperate need of online and digital education. Especially those teachers who were not aware of online teaching, within no time they had to learn without any training. So this is how the paradigm is shifting.
हाँ ये भूल जाते हैं.
So now I would like to start my presentation. Sir, I would like to share my screen.
Yes, ma'am, please. Yes, ma'am. I made you the co-host.
Right, sir. Right, sir. I'm trying.
Yeah. Yes, it is visible, ma'am.
Okay. So complete screen is not visible. Let me just enlarge it. I hope now the screen is visible.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, visible.
Right, sir.
Yeah.
So I would like to start today's session covering these points. There are four key indicators in criteria 4, which is focusing, basically criteria 4 is focusing on infrastructure and learning resources. So there are four key indicators: physical facilities, library as a learning resource, IT infrastructure, maintenance of campus and infrastructure. So I would like to start my presentation with a small example. So I hope all of us are familiar that whenever we are going to buy any article, suppose we buy a car, so for that we need proper servicing. So initially the company policy will be there, which will tell us that yes, after 1 month completing this much of kilometers of drive, or after 1 month you have to get it serviced. Otherwise it will not function well. Similarly, if the speed is maintained, if we are maintaining optimum speed while driving, so we are expecting better average. If we are getting the pollution done on time, so definitely we'll be getting better output from it. So otherwise also regular service is required if we want to use it in long term with better output. So this is applicable for everything, for any gadget which we are using at home or in any institution. So if we see from simple or in layman's term, if that kind of approach is used in the institutions, that whatever resources are being available with us or what are being augmented for a futuristic approach, so we need to maintain them. If we talk about our body, if we are not taking care of our body, then again we'll suffer from diseases, and it will affect our efficiency of work. So same thing is applicable for the infrastructure, for the equipments, or for the learning resources, which time to time we require. So if we talk about criterion 4, here, first we need to talk about the creation. If we are starting any program, so for that program, we need different resources, we need infrastructure, because without infrastructure, physical presence of the institution is not possible. So we need to create it. We need to then utilize it optimally, because availability is one thing, but its optimum use is more important for everyone. So this we have to ensure that whatever resources are available with us, are we providing it to the stakeholders or the students, the teachers or the staff who are in need of it. And similarly, we need to maintain each and everything, whatever is available. So as I told you, for our body, we need the proper maintenance. So similarly, if we'll not clean the building, clean our room, take for example, even for a single day, we can't sit in it. So similarly, the same kind of responsibilities are there for running the institution as well. So this particular criteria, as I told you, it is basically from NAAC guidelines only. It focuses on the adequacy and optimal use of facilities, because if we will be making adequate and optimal use of the available facilities, only then we can think about the quality education. Then only we can think about the better output, learning outcome. So we need to be first of all, we have to think that what is relevant for our course. So according to the relevance of the course, we should think about the adequate devices or adequate infrastructure or adequate equipments, whatever is required as per the need of the course. Then suppose we have availed all these facilities. Now the thing is that if whether the students, teachers and staff members are being benefited by these facilities or not, they will get benefit only if they are aware of it. So we time to time we have to ensure that suppose some new software is being purchased, maybe in the library or any other part of our system. So are the students or the teachers or the staff members are aware of it? Because if they will be aware of it, only then they will be using it. So we need to orient them. And then the next part is expansion of facilities. So as I just told you that now by 2030 we are expecting that if we talk about standalone teacher education institutions, they have to be converted into multidisciplinary institutes. So for that particular reason, it is very important to think about it, and IQAC of the institution should start working on it. Only then it will be easier for the institute to go ahead with the expansion of the facilities. Only then the institution can be converted into multidisciplinary approach. So if for those institutions who have already filled AQAR for the year 2020-21, in which the data was from June 2020 to December 2021. So it was being uploaded on new format. So the SAR which we have, or SSR which we have to fill now onwards, will be on the revised format. So for those institutions who have uploaded their AQAR of 2020 to 21 session, it will be easier for them to go ahead with the SSR data, because the main components or the aspects are based on the AQAR of this particular session. So now So as I have just mentioned in the outline, so we'll be discussing on physical facilities, library as a learning resource, IT infrastructure, and maintenance of campus and infrastructure. So here, one thing we can notice that the key indicators, all these 4 key indicators uh, are having for universities, for autonomous colleges, and for affiliated and constituent colleges, equal weightage has been given. In other criteria, will not find that kind of distribution of marks. Here, we can notice that equal distribution of marks or allocation of weightage is there for all these 4 aspects or 4 key indicators in this particular criteria. And if we see the allocation of marks, this is 30, 20, 30, 20. 30 is for 4.1, that is for physical facilities. Then 20 is for library as a learning resource. And then 4.3 is IT infrastructure. So it contains 30 marks. And maintenance of campus infrastructure is again 20 marks. So we can remember it like that, 30, 20, 30, 20. So total is 100 marks for this particular criteria. Now, if we talk about QLM and QNM, that is qualitative metrics and quantitative metrics. So here we can see that in qualitative metrics, we need to give descriptive answer. In descriptive answer, word limit is also mentioned. Only one question is there in which 1000 word limit is there, but for other questions only 500 word limit has to be taken care of. And if we talk about QNM, that is quantitative metrics, here if we will be putting the data in numbers, right, but that value which we are mentioning in our SSR, so that should be correct. And we have to fill we need to see that whatever we have filled in our extended profile, so that should match with the whatever we are filling in this particular criteria. And one more thing we can keep in mind when we are talking about qualitative metrics, it is how of the process. How of the process has to be mentioned in qualitative metrics. And when we are talking about quantitative metrics, here we'll be discussing about how much and how many. Means take for example, how much money has been spent for maintenance of infrastructure, or how much money has been spent on purchase of books, or how many classrooms, ICT enabled classrooms are there. So here in quantitative metrics, there are 2 aspects which we need to fill, that is how many and how much. And one more thing is important for us to understand, that whenever we are filling the data, suppose one of the component is not available in our institution, so we should not leave that matrix blank. So if it is numerical data, then zero can be put, or if it is it has to be written in a word, then we can write not available or not applicable. So in that way, the matrix should not be left blank. That is very important. Now coming to these qualitative and quantitative metrics, here in 4.1, that is physical facilities, it counts for 30 marks. And here 2 qualitative metric based questions will be there, and the marks will be 5 plus 5, that is 10. Total 10 marks will be there. And this for quantitative metrics, there will again be 2 questions, and the marks will be 10 plus 10, means 10 marks each for each quantitative metrics. So that we will see in our next slides, that what quantitative and what qualitative metric questions are there. And the second is Library is a learning resource. So here one qualitative matrix is there. It means one descriptive question has been asked, which is for 4 marks. And in quantitative matrix, there are 3 questions. And here 6 plus 5 plus 5 means 16 marks are allocated to it. And now coming to IT infrastructure, which contains 30 marks weightage. So here one qualitative question is there, and 5 marks are allocated to it, and 2 quantitative based questions will be there. That will be for 10 plus 15 marks. And if we see the last part, that is 4.4 maintenance of infrastructure, campus infrastructure. So here total weightage is 20, and here descriptive question will be 1, that will be for 10 marks. And last here will be one quantitative question that will again be for 10 marks. So in that way, here we can see that the total 5 qualitative matrix will be there, and 8 quantitative matrix will be there. And if we see the weightage, 71 is for qualitative matrix and 29 is for 71 is for quantitative matrix and 29 is for qualitative matrix. Now before moving further, I would like to know, so what comes to your mind when you think about the infrastructure with respect to building of any teacher education institution? So please share it in chat box. What all infrastructural facilities can be there when we talk about the physical facilities? What comes to your mind? Yes, library, lab, teaching aids, and then we have building, classrooms, informative workshops, ICT infrastructure, smart boards, then resource centers, psychological tools, curriculum labs can be there, then proper labs for all practical subjects, right? So we can have maths lab, we can have science lab, we can have smart boards, sports facilities, right? So we can have playgrounds, or in other words, you can say we can have indoor facilities as well as outdoor activity facilities for sports. So any other thing comes to your mind when we are talking about, yes, common rooms, seminar hall, yes. Then method labs can be there. Yes, this is very important, girls common room. But what about the boys common room? Yes, canteen. There may be research cell, parking space is important, then staff room is important. We can have ET lab, we can have restrooms, washrooms. We can have auditorium for conducting different activities, medical room, counseling corner, yes. So fire extinguishers, we can have field for again counseling, separate washrooms for physically challenged persons. Then we can have studio for developing e-content, water facilities, multi-purpose hall. Then we can have breakout corner, practical labs. So what I feel that, yes, furniture and fixtures very important, and these furniture should be very comfortable for sitting. Then we can have we should have principal room. Rainwater harvesting system can be there. Yes, sports ground, medical room or sick room, yes. So what I feel that more or less we are having same kind of opinion when we are talking of, yes, daycare center, solar panels can also be there, greenhouse facilities may be created in the for better infrastructure, because whatever environment related aspects we are performing in our institution, that will be mentioned in our seventh criteria. Yes, generator set, yoga room, green environment, right? Counseling room again. So I hope whatever you have mentioned and whatever we are discussing, these components are not new to us. Yes, hostel facilities, teachers room, prayer hall, yes, garden waste disposal. So there may be so many options for garden waste disposal. We can develop a compost, so that can again be mentioned in criteria 7. So there may be committee room if there are different committees. Vermicompost, yes. So for if we want to keep it, so e-waste management system is also equally important. Then proper space for display of models. So we can in fact create a resource room, keeping in mind the need of teacher education program. So drinking water facilities, green campus, and how we are going to have green campus, that also we can see that how we can maintain it. Then there are so many things. Then learning management system, yes, this is the need of the hour, and I hope I think in many of the institutions now we are having learning management system. So library facilities. So what I just wanted to know, art and craft room, yes. So for conducting different activities, more or less, we are having almost the same kind of opinion when we are talking about, yes, we should have guard room, gymnasium, parking facility, auditorium, digital library, generator, yes, barrier-free infrastructure, then rainwater harvesting facility should also be there. So when we will be mentioning, now I will come to the question part. Here the first question over here is a qualitative question, which focuses on, here you can see the institution has adequate infrastructure and physical facilities for teaching learning. Here we are not talking about the recreation part of the learner. Here the main focus is on teaching learning aspects. So here classrooms, laboratories, computing equipments, etc. is mentioned. So now we have to see that what facilities, these facilities, whatever are mentioned here are fine. But etc. means in some of the institutions, there may be some outstanding resource room, which they might have developed, or there may be a special corner which have been created for students creative or innovative ideas. So it depends upon institution that whatever has been mentioned here, along with that, if any innovative idea has been implemented in the institution, that may also be mentioned here. So here we need to describe the adequacy of infrastructure and physical facilities for teaching, learning as per the minimum specified requirement by statutory bodies within a maximum 500 words. So here file description, upload any additional information, paste links for additional information. So what we have to do here, first of all, let us see what I have just taken an example of our own statutory body. So here, this what NCTE says for running a program. So you can refer to it on your own. It is available online. So in that way, we have to see that what is the requirement of our own statutory body. I'm talking in terms of teacher education program. So it is very clearly indicated whenever we will be talking about the policies and procedures. If we have such kind of guidelines, it helps us to implement them effectively. So here you can just go through on your own, and similarly some infrastructural facilities are also mentioned. Here you can see in point number 8 that in the last size, the size of instructional spaces shall not be less than 10 square feet per student. So in that way, you will get clear-cut instructions, guidelines from the statutory body that what kind of facilities should be provided for 1 unit of students, or for the intake of 2 units of students, for running 2 years program, for running 4 years program. So accordingly, we have to think about the expansion as well. So when in 2015, initially, when the B.Ed program changed to 2 years program, so at that time, so that first year, in first year, we had only 1 unit of students, but in next year, we had double intake because second year also joined us. So in that way, IQAC should plan that how the institute is going to accommodate these students, and how the infrastructural facilities will be made available to them. So this was just a glimpse of NCT document. It is a detailed document. If you want to go through it, it's available. Now coming to the answer of this particular question. So whatever you have shared in chat box about the infrastructure. So here we have to discuss that how many classrooms are there. Suppose we are talking about 10 classrooms, right? Suppose there are 10 classrooms in the institute. We have to specifically mention that whether these classrooms are facilitated with ICT facilities or not, whether projectors are there in the classroom or smart boards are available in the classroom. So that is how we have to elaborate this point, that it is not only about the classrooms in general, we have to give the specification as well in the description, that these many classrooms are there, and for everything whatever we are writing, we need to give the documentary evidence of it. So we have to provide the evidence that if we are saying that there are 2 smart classrooms, so one should not get confused with the smart classroom and the classroom with LCD facility. Because in LCD facility, we can only project the things with the help of our system. But in smart classrooms, I will be just discussing more about it in my next slide. So let us talk about the laboratories. Suppose laboratories are there. So all the institutions are having, must be having laboratories, but how you are operating those laboratories, how the students are accessing the resources available in the laboratory. Have you maintained any register for issuing the articles or items available in the in that lab? So if there is a science lab and students go there, so you need to maintain a register where students entry can be done if they require something. For example, students go for teaching practice and they need something for maybe for their presentation in the school, so they can get it issued, but the record should be maintained with physical signature of the student in the register, because this is the documentary evidence which you have to attach in your file. Or when the peer team visit will be there, you have to show all these documents. So whatever you are writing, whatever we have to write in the answer, we should visualize that what is the documentary evidence of it, and accordingly we should prepare our evidences, and we should be able to produce those evidences in front of the peer team. So if we talk about seminar hall, conference hall, or auditorium, so I think whatever we were discussing earlier, that these are the part of our infrastructure. So if we talk about seminar hall, is it having any ICT facility in it? Similarly for conference hall or for auditorium. Along with that, one more thing I forgot to mention in classrooms. So if you are mentioning the classroom, number of classrooms, you have to tell the capacity also, that how many students can sit in that particular classroom. Because this is very important, because it only this description will help us to know that whatever is the strength of the institution. If we are saying 10 classrooms are there and each classroom has the capacity of 50 students, then accordingly we can see that how many classrooms are required for that particular institution. Same is the case for your seminar hall, conference hall, and auditorium. Here you have to give specifications that these facilities are available, and along with that you it should be mentioned that what is the sitting capacity in these halls. Then library, again in library we can mention which kind of facilities are there, and is there a separate space for reading room, is there separate reference section in the library, and how the issue and return of the books is done in the library, and how the purchase, this thing will be mentioning in policies, that how we are which kind of policy or procedure we are maintaining for running the system. So when we are talking about library, again we have to see the capacity, that how many students can be there, and you should also mention about the available books, journals, e-journals, then e-books as well. But here when we are talking about e-books, you will not be mentioning the PDF of hard copy of the book. That is not considered as ebook. So whether it is a purchased version or what, so accordingly you have to give the detail over here. Then if nowadays training and placement means, this is the ultimate aim, that finally after completing the course, how many students are being placed. So is there a special space for training and placement cell? If there is any special room for training and placement, so that can also be mentioned here. And then this is again, as we discussed earlier, that in the optimal use of the available resources is must, because if we are providing the resources, how we are utilizing those resources, that is more important. Then we have to think about the disabled friendly campus. If we are saying that our campus is disabled friendly, then do we have ramps in our institution? Do we have lift facility in the institution? And along with that, do we have disabled friendly toilets available in the institution? If we are writing about it, then we have to support it with the help of geotagged photographs. We have to click the photograph and then provide it as a supporting document. Then academic support system. So what all facilities we are providing to give academic support to teachers as well as to students, so that can also be mentioned here. Then student support facilities, here we can mention some of the facilities for student support. Then upgradation of policies and procedures. So time to time we need to upgrade the policies and procedures. So if we talk about the teaching scenario before pandemic and after pandemic, so we have noticed, we have experienced the change during this duration. So keeping all these things in mind, because change is the spice of life, so change will take place. But with this change, are we upgrading our system as per the need of the hour or not? So this we have to see, that whether we have upgraded our system. Now suppose earlier students were having exams in physical mode. Now during pandemic they had to go for online examination. Teachers also had to do online checking and online proctoring. So this is what the change in the system is taking place. So if we are having any examination policy, so that we have to bring some change in that. We have to we have to think about such kind of LMS where we can ask the students to submit their assignment or submit their examination sheet as well. So it depends that with change of time, we have to bring some changes in our policies as well. Then unique infrastructure for some special programs. So it depends. Suppose we have started with some new program. Suppose we are running a B.Ed program and started with B.Ed special program, special education program. So the requirement of B.Ed special education will be different. So that thing we can mention highlighting, because you know what happens, some of whatever we are utilizing, whatever we are doing, sometimes we take it for granted. So with discussions, we can discuss it with other institutions. We can have healthy discussion that these kind of procedures we are following. Then we get to know that this is what we are doing, which is different from others. So that is what we can mention here. And then ICT facilities with specifications has to be mentioned. Then we can talk about guest rooms. Suppose guest rooms are there, then here we have to explain that for what purpose we are using these guest rooms. Are we charging some amount for from the guests if they are accommodating the room, or this is free of cost? So all these things we can mention here. Now coming to the next question, that is 4.1.2. It is again QLM, that is qualitative question. It is for 5 marks. Here we can see the question is, the institution has adequate facilities for cultural activities, sports, games, indoor, outdoor, gymnasium, yoga center, etc. So if we think from NEP 2020's perspective also, so these components are going to become the integral part of our system. So if we are talking about, here we have to give explanation of sports activities, cultural activities, gymnasium, yoga center, etc. So this description has to be in 500 words, and you have to upload the files and then paste the links wherever required. And along with that, now what description we need for this particular question. So suppose there are sports facilities in the institution, both indoor and sports facilities are available or not. If both are available, then again we can give the specification with respect to which kind of, suppose basketball ground is there, or volleyball ground is there, table tennis facilities available. So we have to mention that these many indoor games facilities are available and these many outdoor games facilities are available. And whenever we have to upload the photograph, it has to be geotagged photograph, one thing. Secondly, it's better to take a photograph when students are in action, when they are performing, when they are means playing any game, or if we talk about cultural activities, if some performance is taking place. So these things we need to mention here. So here we can mention about the university level competitions. We can discuss about the annual sports meet, which is generally conducted in every institution. So what yoga facilities are available in the institution? So if we take the example of our institute, we are having one separate yoga lawn. So this yoga lawn is utilized for, because our institution is residential institution, there is facility for us that we can call the students in the morning and they can do yoga. So accordingly, in whichever way you are utilizing your resource, that has to be mentioned. As I told you that sometimes we feel that whatever we are doing is means a common thing, but we need to highlight what we are doing, and accordingly we have to give the description here. Then if gym facility is there, then what all equipments are there. So we need to mention these things here. And along with that, if we have coaches for all the above mentioned facilities, if we are talking about sports, so do we have any sports teacher? If we are talking about yoga, so do we have a yoga teacher with us? Or if we are talking about gym facility, so if any gym trainer is there, and at what time the students can avail the facility. So all these things we need to mention here. Then what equipments are there? And again, for cultural activities, as we discussed, that there may be different cultural activities. Generally, we have annual cultural fest, which is conducted in the institution. Similarly, university level competitions are also organized, so where students can participate. So sometimes our own institution may be the center which has to organize the such competitions. So whatever way we are using these resources, first of all we'll be mentioning what resources are available. Secondly, we'll be mentioning how we are utilizing those resources, whether through annual cultural fest, or we are being the part of affiliating university, we are the center for conducting the event. So in that way we can mention here. But whatever we are mentioning, again, as I told about the sports activities, we have to give documentary evidence here. And for documentary evidence, we should have proper reports, we should have proper geotagged photographs. So these documents we should maintain, we should keep on uploading on our website, because sometimes while uploading the data on SSR or in AQR, it becomes difficult because of the heavy file. So in that case, we can give direct link to our website. So as a website is the mirror of any institution, so we should keep on updating our website as well. So here we can talk about the common rooms. Do we have separate common rooms for boys and girls? And what facilities we are providing in common rooms, that can also be mentioned here. Then are we using building terraces for some specific purpose? So that can also be mentioned here. Then if solar panels are available, then again we can give description. Do we have any safety measures in our institution? Generally what happens, whenever the building is constructed, these safety measures are fixed. But the thing is that, are we ensuring that these equipments which were being installed at that time are proper service is being done? Or the persons, the students or the teachers or the other staff members know how to use it in case then some emergency arises? So what we can do, suppose we are having fire safety system in our institution, so we can invite some expert, we can arrange some mock drill for it, so that utilization, as I'm telling repeatedly, that utilization of resources is more important. Just installing is not going to solve our purpose. So here we can mention, suppose we have done any mock drill for fire safety, so that we can mention that yes, we are having fire safety system, and it is a mock drill for fire safety was being done. Then from where we have taken certification for all these measures, whether it is related to any safety measure. Then I hope this is one example I just wanted to share with you for geotagged photograph, how it is different from other photographs. Most of you must be knowing, but for those who have not started working on geotagged photograph, so in that way we can know through geotagged photograph that on which date the photograph was taken, at what time it was being clicked, and what is the latitude and longitude of that particular area. So it gives authenticity to the photos which we are uploading in the our AQARs or in SSR. So this is very important, as I told in the beginning also, that those institutions who have already filled AQAR for 2020-21, they must have done this exercise, because same is required for SSR. So these kinds of photographs can be taken either directly through online option, or some applications are there which can be downloaded in the mobile, and accordingly we can take the geotagged photographs. But now it is mandatory, so everyone should start taking geotagged photos only. Now coming to the next question, this is quantitative matrix. It is for 10 marks. You know, when we are going to give this data, so it is only the data which is available in our institutions should be mentioned. And especially the question is percentage of classrooms and seminar halls with ICT enabled facilities such as smart class, LMS, etc. So number of classrooms and seminar halls with ICT facilities, total weightage is 10. So number of classrooms with LCD facilities, the number of classrooms with Wi-Fi or LAN facility, number of smart classrooms, number of classrooms with LMS facilities, the number of seminar halls with ICT facilities. So here again we have to upload the additional information where we can, as I told you, sometimes it becomes difficult to paste the whole file. So in that case we can paste the link, so it will directly take us to that particular information. So here we have to give numbers, just numerical data has to be mentioned here. But here again, one thing should be clear: when we are talking about the classrooms with LCD facility, so LCD facility is not the part of smart classrooms, right? So in smart classrooms, some more facilities are required. So here we can see in smart classrooms, hardware and software, state of art hardware and software will be there. Internet for teaching will be available. Then natural language processing capabilities will be there. If you have used smart boards, if you are writing with stylex on the smart board, that can be converted into a desired text. So we can use that kind of facility. Then animated modules and videos are available inbuilt. These modules are available in smart boards. And if we are writing something, if we are using the board for a particular purpose, we have suppose taught one component of the class in that particular period, and we want to carry forward the same content in next class, so that uh, notebook of or that page of the notebook can be saved for later use. So these are some of the additional features of smart classrooms. And remote access capabilities for live streaming and lecture capturing option is also available there. So if you see about LCD system, in LCD system, we have to connect our systems or our laptop, and we can do projection, whatever we want to teach. But in smart classrooms, it is more advanced in nature, and the features are different. Now coming to the next question, that this is again QNM, that is quantitative metrics. Here expenditure for infrastructure augmentation excluding salary year wise during last 5 years in lakhs has to be mentioned. So here you can see what all is required. the most important thing is what we need here is balance sheet where income expenditure details are given, and it should be signed by a chartered accountant. So here we can highlight, because in income expenditure balance sheet, you will find so many other components also. So here, whatever has been spent on infrastructure augmentation, suppose we want to start a new course. For that particular purpose, we need 2 more rooms. So whatever amount has been spent on construction of those 2 rooms will be mentioned here. So we have to see that how we are going to mention the amount here. Whatever we are mentioning should be highlighted in the income expenditure statement, and it should be signed by CA, and principal signature should also be there. Now coming to the second key indicator, that is library as a learning resource. So if we see this statement by Swami Vivekanand, if education is identical with information, the libraries are the greatest sages in the world and encyclopedias are the rishis. But it will become sages or rishis only if we are going to use the available resources in the library. So there may be thousands of books in the library, or some new books are being added as it has to be. So, but if students are and teachers are not utilizing those resources, then all the efforts will go in vain. So optimal use is equally important. So what we can do here, I will be just discussing the questions as well. So this write-up is available in NAAC document. So you can just go through it in through that document. Then coming to the first question, this is QLM. This is qualitative question where descriptive answer will be required. Here 4 marks are allotted to it, and data requirement for last 5 years, upload a description of library with name of ILMS software, nature of automation, whether it is fully or partially, then which version is being used there, then year of automation. So when we are talking about this data, we can talk if these facilities, book bank facility is there, if plagiarism software is there, so we can give the reference, we can give the mention of it in our write-up. And the most important, as I told you, utilization is very important. So whenever the new student join the institution, whenever we are starting the orientation of the students, it should be the integral part of that orientation program to apprise the students with the available resources in the institution. We can take the students in small groups to different resource centers in the beginning itself, so that they come to know that these all resources are there and how they can be used, that the respective teachers can tell them. But it is very important to just for example, if plagiarism software is available, sorry, this it is anti-plagiarism software is available in the library. So if we encourage students to write down a paper, then they should also know that how they can use it, because using is more important. Just installing the software is not going to solve the purpose, but its usage is more important. So teachers as well as the students should be oriented that how these softwares can be used. Now here for writing the description, we can mention the name of the library software, we can mention date of implementation, then which kind of automation is there, whether it is fully or partial, then what is the procedure which we are adopting for issue and return of books. Then what is the per day usage of the library, and how we are calculating it, how we are just ensuring that these many students or whosoever, whether student or teacher, is using the library. Is there any document which is being maintained? So there are two ways of doing it. If the library is fully automated, then there may be a possibility of having biometric. So whenever the person is entering in the library, the biometric will be attendance can be taken, and that record. But the thing is that we have to maintain the record, and for that we should do it on regular basis. Or if it is done manually, if suppose biometric facility is not available in the institution, in that case one register can be maintained, in which you can mention name of the person, and it should be separate for students and teachers, where you can mention a name, and what, at what time the entry was done, and at what time the person is exiting from there. So in that way record can be maintained, and on at the end of every month we can take the signature of the library in charge and the principal or head of the institution for maintaining the record. Then purchase details. In purchase details, one should know that how the purchase is being made. Is there any purchase committee? Is there any library committee? And what is the role of library committee? And how we are asking for the requirement of the books? Is it only one teacher who is deciding that these many books should be purchased for the library, or we are taking input from each and every one, whether these are students or the teachers? So we should adopt a procedure. We should create a document. Suppose if we are taking teachers requirement, so that record should be maintained, that where name of the teacher, what requirement the teacher has given, then who is the publisher, what is the cost of the book. So all these details can be given and compiled, and with that, the if library committee is there, then library committee will finally uh, approve it with consent from the principal. So there I'm just quoting one example. There may be some other ways of purchasing the books in different institutions, but whatever procedure you are following, so that should be clearly indicated, that should be clearly mentioned here. And screenshots of ILMS modules should be there. So suppose there is anti-plagiarism software in the institution, so we can take the screenshot that how many students or how many teachers have utilized it, so that data can be availed from there and it can be kept as a record. Then the facilities available for students and faculty. So what facilities, whether computers are also there in the library, whether internet facility is available in the library, and how the books can be issued, whether which section means, whether proper signages are there in the library, so that it becomes easier for the students as well as the teachers to directly go to that particular section for getting the books. Then infrastructural details including ICT facilities, this should be there. The number of e-books, journals and e-journals, etc. should be there. Then what is the reading room facility, whether it is common for teachers or students, or it is separate for them. So now coming to next question, this is again quantitative metrics in which we have to give details of e-journals, e-Shodh Sindhu, Shodh Ganga membership, e-books, databases, remote access to e-resources. So here again we have to keep in mind that when we are talking about e-journals, we have to upload some documentary evidences. So if the e-journal is renewed, so for that we might be having some mail, or we might be having e-copy of that payment. So that copy, along with the signature of the head of the institution as well as of the librarian, should be produced as a documentary proof here. And similarly, for if we talk about the memberships, so these memberships should be related document, relevant document should be uploaded here. And the same thing is applicable for ebooks. But as I told earlier also, ebooks doesn't mean the PDF of hard copies of the books. Here we have to keep ebooks. These may be the purchased one, or the books available free of cost. Ebooks are available. If we visit NCERT website, we can refer to the NCERT books. So in that case, we can give link in our website. We can create a separate corner in our website as well as a library resource. So that the concerned person, the students, can refer to that particular link and directly go to the link and refer to the relevant requirement. So ebooks, which databases are used, and remote access to e-resources. So after pandemic, again I will quoting pandemic here, because if student is not able to access the library resources in physical mode, is there any way that it can be used in from remote areas? So all these things we have to see, that whether any 4 or more of the above are applicable in our case, or 3 of the above, or 2 of the above, or 1 of the above. But whatever we are mentioning here, suppose we are saying 4 or more of the above, in that case we have to give documentary proof for all the 4 or 5 or 6 things which we have mentioned here. So this is important to give documentary proof, where will be justifying that yes, whatever we have written is correct. Now coming to the next question, this is again a quantitative matrix. This quantitative matrix is requiring how much, right? As I told you, there are 2 possibilities in quantitative matrix: how much and how many. So here they are asking for average annual expenditure of purchase of books or e-books and subscription to journals and e-journals during the last 5 years. Then weightage for this is 5 marks. And data required will be filled here. That again, what we have to do here, in audited statement of the institution, we will highlight that how much we have spent on these aspects. Earlier it was for infrastructural facilities, but here in this case we'll have to mention about the facilities which are the purchase of books or ebooks or journals or anything else which is there, which has been added in the library. So whatever amount has been spent on the library, so that has to be mentioned in lakhs. Suppose 1 lakh rupees have been spent, so accordingly we'll be mentioning, and we have to give the average of 5 years. Then the next question here is the percentage per day usage of library by teachers and students, footfall and login data for online access. So as I told earlier also, there are 2 possibilities. If this access can be checked or assessed through online mode, then that data, that login data has to be maintained. But if the institution or the library of any particular institution is not having this kind of facility, in that case a register can be maintained, and at the end of the month the total footfall will be counted, and accordingly that will be mentioned here, that how many students, because here we have to give separate data for teachers and students, number of teachers and number of students. So accordingly, we can't expect that suppose there are 100 students in the college, so all the hundreds are not going to utilize the library resources in a day. So we have to keep in mind that whether 20% students or 25% students or teachers, so accordingly whatever is there, that we have to mention here. Here we have to upload the last page of accession registers details, then method of computing per day usage of library, then number of users using library through e-access, then number of physical users accessing library. So all these details are to be mentioned here. Now coming to the next key indicator, that is IT infrastructure. So it carries 30 marks. So here again, this has been taken from NAAC manual. So the institution adopts policies and strategies for adequate technology deployment and maintenance, ICT, what ICT facilities are there, and how staff and students are going to access and retrieve the information from available resources. Then institution deploys or employs ICT for range of activities. So this is also very important for different activities, how we are utilizing it. Now coming to the first question, this is qualitative metrics. Institution frequently updates its IT facilities, including Wi-Fi. So describe IT facilities, including Wi-Fi, with date and nature of updation within a maximum 500 of marks. So here we have to upload the data as well. As I told you, suppose we are taking internet facility, our internet service provider is suppose Jio or it is Act. So we must be having some receipt of it. So that we have to produce here. We have to upload as the relevant document just to justify that yes, it has been updated or this facility is available. So here we have to give description of IT facilities. So these IT facilities may include what operating system we are using, how many systems are there, and whether these systems are connected to LAN or not, and what kind of internet or Wi-Fi facilities are available. Then what is the processor which we are using in our systems. Then we can mention about the RAM and hard disk as well, and which version of MS Office we are using, if there is any antivirus available in the systems or not, or it is annually updated or not. Then if projector is there. And one more thing I would like to add here, that if we are talking about disabled friendly environment, so do we have any software in our systems which will help disabled people also to utilize these facilities? For example, screen reader. So screen reader can be used by the visually impaired persons. So if such kind of facilities are available, these can be free of cost, or the paid versions are there. If we want to take advanced one, then we can have a paid version as well. So if these facilities are there and how we are making use of these facilities, the mention of it has to be done over here. Here we also need to mention that whatever facilities we are providing to the learner, in which areas they are using them. Suppose even now in our university, proctored exams are taking place. If some of the students are not having their own laptops, so are we giving them opportunity to come to our computer lab and attempt their exam? Do we have so many systems in our computer lab? So all these things we need to mention here, that how we are utilizing it. And if the institution is residential, if students are staying in the hostel, so are they being given extended timings if required? Maybe at the time of examination, or maybe in any other situation, suppose some activity is going on, or some they have to prepare for their own practical examination where use of computers is required. So are we giving them some extended timing? Because within the limited time frame, sometimes it becomes difficult for the students also to avail these facilities. So if there is language lab in the institution, so if we see our own curriculum, if we talk about B.Ed curriculum, we'll not find any specific paper which is referring to language lab. So we can't put it in our timetable. But have we given any special space to our learners in the timetable for utilizing the language lab facility in the institution, for utilizing other facilities? Suppose smart board is there. So again, teachers can use these smart boards while teaching. But what about the students? That is what we have to see, that when we are talking about the students, how they are going to use them. So in timetable, we need to give them some space, that yes, this is the time where they can use, they can practice on smartboard, because finally when they will be going in the school, maybe for internship or for any other reason, or maybe after completion of the course, when they are recruited in the schools, then they will be using, they have to use. If they might be having prior practice on the smart board, then definitely it will add on to their skill sets. So in that way, we have to mention here that how we are, first of all, what facilities are available, IT related facilities are available, and that secondly, how we are using them, that is more important. How much opportunities we are providing to the students, to the teachers or the faculty, or the staff members, other staff members, to utilize these resources. So here in this particular question, we can also mention about the budget allocation. So initially, whenever we are planning for the budget, we have to see that this much amount is required for renewal of language lab, or this much amount is required for renewal of e-journals. So, or this much amount is required for renewal of or maintenance, annual maintenance of computers. So all these things should be planned in advance, because whatever is there in our expenditure statement, so that should be clearly indicated. Secondly, here we can highlight these components, that on these components how we have spent, and accordingly we can upload. So in this particular question, we can mention about the budget allocation. We can talk about the number of computers we are having, then hardware and software, language lab, internet access with speed, or what is the condition of antivirus? Are we having antivirus in all our systems? And these things can be elaborated as per, because institution to institution it will vary. Then we can talk about the number of computers and its configuration, what about, and how many computer labs are there, then what all softwares are available, LCD, CCTV, then Wi-Fi or internet facilities availability can be mentioned here. Then usage of IC facilities, as I told you, that it is more important that how we are using these facilities. Then maintenance and update, especially when we are talking about our systems. Earlier we were having maybe 15 years ago we were having bulky systems, but right now we have sleek laptops. So now and similarly, this is about the hardware. Same thing is applicable for software. So now with the change of time, are we updating our systems? And if we talk about NEP 2020 also. So it has also focused on technology usage and integration of technology. So this is possible only if we are having the updated version of ICT facilities available in the institute. So here we can talk about the scanners also, if scanners are available, if photocopy machines are there. So all these things can be mentioned here. Then this is another matrix in which this is quantitative in nature. And here, if you will see, if the management of the institution is able to provide sufficient number of computers as per the requirement of the number of students, then directly 10 marks can be availed. So here we have to give number of students and number of computers. Then data requirement will be numbers of computers in working condition. So one more thing we can mention, whenever we are giving documentary proofs, so if some of the systems are not functional, how we are disposing them, what procedure we are adopting to dispose those things. So this thing will be mentioning in criteria 7 also, where we have to talk about e-waste management. So here we can in descriptive answer we can mention that how we are why we are purchasing. If some systems are obsolete, that will not be used. But what is the procedure which we have adopted for purchasing the systems? That is what we have to see. And along with that, we have to give the documentary proofs. If we are having any annual maintenance from maybe some vendor, so that has to be mentioned here. This again is very scoring point here. This question, the bandwidth of internet connection in the institution, the weightage is 15 marks and different options are given here. So if we are having desired bandwidth, then we can directly score 15 marks over here. But again, we have to give the documentary proof for it, that suppose we have internet service provider. So how much internet bandwidth we are getting from that particular provider. So that document has to be uploaded to support our statement. Now coming to the last point, that is maintenance of campus infrastructure. So first question is quantitative. Average percentage of expenditure incurred on maintenance of infrastructure, physical and academic support facilities, excluding salary component during the last 5 years. So here again, what we have to do, we have to see the income expenditure statement. We have to see that balance sheet. It should be signed by CA, and finally we should take principal signature before uploading. So again, here we will be highlighting the main components which will fall under this category, that is physical and academic support facilities. So in income expenditure statement, we will highlight these points, that on these components how much money has been spent, and accordingly we'll be mentioning in this particular matrix. But here salary component will not be included. Now this is the qualitative matrix. So in this qualitative matrix, main focus, if we see the question, there are established systems and procedures for maintaining and utilizing physical, academic and support facilities, laboratories, libraries, sports complex, computers, classrooms, etc. So, when we are going to have a policy, if we have a defined policy, it is going to help us in organizing or just having the better outcome. So the policy is required to fulfill and upgrade the infrastructural requirement. So if we are having any committee in college, so for this particular purpose, there may be purchase committee, there may be committees which will be looking after the maintenance of the institution. So I will take one simple example. Suppose we talk about the cleanliness of the institution. So for cleanliness, there is possibility that the institution might be having a permanent staff, permanent support staff who will be looking after the cleanliness of the whole building, including the classrooms, labs, and washrooms. But suppose if we don't have a permanent staff, because giving directions to permanent staff is fine, it can be that can be instructed accordingly, according to the requirement. But if we are not having a regular staff for it, and we have outsourced such staff, in that case there should be clear cut agreement with the vendor, with the contractor, that what all services we require. So those should be clearly mentioned in the in that agreement, and it will help us to run the system smoothly. So as I told you, for library also, that there may be library committee, and the opinion or the requirement from be taken can be taken from the students as well as from the teachers for adding more books to the library. So accordingly, we should be prepared if we are having, or if we take an example of computer system. Suppose some of the systems become obsolete. So how we are disposing them? Are we doing some kind of auction? So if we are doing auction to any vendor, how it is being done? So documentary proof for those should also be attached here. Similarly, if we are purchasing anything, that then what procedure we are adopting for purchase? Is there proper tenders are being opened, or these are quotations are being asked, and then these are uploaded on the website also? So in that way, those procedures, if procedure will be in place, then definitely there is possibility of optimal utilization of resources. So here we have to see that for what all facilities we have proper procedures, and those procedures can be mentioned here. Then this again is the description, as I told you, that whether for classrooms, laboratories, or other facilities, how we are keeping the maintenance. And then housekeeping, we can talk about how housekeeping staff also, how we are arranging them. Then if there is any electrical maintenance problem, then how we are just resolving it. Similarly for garden, canteen, hostel, and library. So all these areas need to be maintained properly. So this is all for from my side as far as this criteria number 4 is concerned. Now with my understanding on this particular criteria, I shared my views. I know many learned persons are there in the meet. So if any question is there, which I will be there, I would like to ask. So I think Nidhi Gupta has raised hand.
A very nice presentation, ma'am. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, and definitely the information and the data you has given will be helpful for the NAAC assessment process. And it has a great help to prepare the SSR as well as to prepare the AQAR. Thank you, Madam.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir.
And now it's a humble request to all the participants. If you have any queries regarding the criteria number 4, please ask your questions writing in a chat box. The participants, if you have any doubts regarding the criteria number 4, okay, I think, madam, the information you have given, the participants have clear all their doubts from your presentation. So,
Okay, sir.
yes. Now I request to Professor Shikalgar, madam, please propose the vote of thanks.
Yes, sir.
Wait.
Thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am. Shikalgar, madam, just a minute, 1 minute.
Okay, okay.